really trust us.
Marry my daughter.
Is she a prostitute? The eyes of a dying giraffe can change a man.
We try make blood much big.
Happy birthday, monkey spanker.
No really trust us.
Hope you enjoyed the show.
Welcome to another episode of No Really Trust Us, the podcast about independent and B movies for people who really like independent and B movies. I am your host for this episode, Detto. I am a independent filmmaker and video editor and writer, and sometimes I make pastries, but not very well. With me, Matt the Professor McNevin and Ken, it's St. Patrick's Day Cornwell. Since it is almost St. Patrick's Day, why don't you introduce yourself, Ken?
Yes, St. Patrick's Day, Cornwell himself here. Yeah, I'm a producer, writer, big-time movie fan, movie trivia knowledgeable, but I'm not as knowledgeable as the professor. Hello, Professor.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, thank you, Ken. I'm Matt McNevin. I'm a video producer and sometime independent filmmaker, and also an adjunct professor in screenwriting and other filmmaking things, whatever they pay me to teach. Hence my nickname, The Professor. Detto, back to you.
All right. So for today's episode, actually, wait, I got to say, so I just assume McNevin is Scottish. If you're also Irish.
It is Irish. It is very, very Irish.
All right. I apologize to your ancestors.
I believe there is a street in Ireland named after that. There's a bakery and a street in Ireland.
Why isn't it McNevin?
It's not old, but it does say old with an E on the end of it. So that's
okay.
Something, yeah.
Oh, that might be your new nickname. Old McNevin.
I'm getting there. So yeah, it might be appropriate.
All right. Anyways, we are not actually talking about Leprechaun Part 5, Leprechaun in Space. We are talking about Tonight She Comes, a horror film from 2016. It is directed by Matt Stewart, also written and edited by Matt, but not filmed or composed by. So we are improving in that category. Actually, cinematographer was Chris Benson, and music was by a very Polish guy.
I was going to hear, can you pronounce the composer's name?
That would be truly offensive if I tried to.
Which is a shame, because I like the score. The score was good. Really well done.
Yeah,
it was very good.
It was very Mandy-esque.
It was.
Yeah. And it reminded me a little bit of the Disaster Piece score from It Follows, because this is from that era. Because it seems like that 2015, 2016 era, this type of score was kind of prevalent in a lot of
in fact, the trailer actually says it's Cabin in the Woods meets It Follows.
Well, there you go.
Clearly going for that, but it works.
It's got nothing to do with It Follows, but that's purely marketing, I'm sure.
I think true. I mean, she does kind of follow them.
That's true. She does follow.
Let's tell the people
in the most literal sense. Someone is following someone. So
let's tell the people what this movie is about. Using the helpful synopsis written by one Nick Reganis on IMDb, James, a new postman, has a special delivery for Christy Jordan at a weathered cabin in the dense woods, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. However, she's nowhere to be found, and the place seems deserted, apart from Christy's best friends, Ashley and Lindsay. As James and his friend try to make the best of a bad job and maybe have a good time with the girls, the definite presence of a mysterious entity in the thick moonlit forest brings chills down the spine. Could it be their disoriented friend, or is it something far more sinister lurking in the shadows? So yeah, it's a pretty standard horror film setup. As we will discuss, it does a lot of things right. It does a few things very wrong. But trust us, it's
mostly in the first half, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So Ken, give us your top thoughts. Tonight She Comes.
My top thoughts are, I think there's a lot to like about this film. You know, one thing we were sort of saying off air is that, the look of it is great. Like, I think it's shot really well. Production design, lighting, A lot of good visual stuff happening. Great bloody gore effects, which I think are really well done. I think it has a couple of decent performances too. I really liked the actress who plays Ashley. I like the actress who plays Felicitahhhhh, and I like the old guy. I think he does a good job. So I think there is a lot to recommend. You know, we there's some definite plot issues and some tone issues, I think. But it also has, and you know, when we get into spoiler territories, we can talk about it, but it has a slam bang finish for sure. So that's where I land.
All right, Professor.
Yeah, I'm with Ken on a lot of that. I think the way I would summarize exactly what Ken was saying and build on that a little bit is it has a real narrative drive problem, which is something that when I teach screenwriting to my students, it's a common problem amongst my students' scripts. And one thing that, especially a horror film or any kind of thriller type, really needs is a really strong narrative engine behind it. And this doesn't kick in until halfway through, I'd say. And now sometimes that's tricky because especially when you're just laying the groundwork and doing the setup, it's the psycho problem, right? Like the second half is exciting when the actual killing starts, right? But so how do you make that first half exciting? or Deado, we were talking about From Dusk Till Dawn before, right? Which again is another movie that splits into two distinct halves, right? But the issue is the first half of From Dusk Till Dawn is an entertaining movie in and of itself, right? The crime story could be exciting, and then the horror story, the vampire story, could be exciting in and of itself. So you have two. You may not like the merging of those two styles, but taken separately, those are exciting. This one, you got a real problem because the second half, as Ken is slam bang is a good way to describe it. Like it really goes, and the first half is just it's just like an engine that won't start. You're just like, all right, come on. Every time it seems to get interesting, like, oh, nope, they make another decision, and it just kind of stalls out a bit. So to me, to summarize, like it is the ultimate no really trust us movie, right? It's almost like a movie like this to me is like the raison d'etre of this podcast, which is like even if someone like myself who's a really big fan of this type of movie and we love independent cinema and B movies especially, even I was like, I texted Deado like halfway through. I'm like, Deado, are you sure about this? Because I want to bail. And he's like, no, stick with it. And he was right to. So it really is the ultimate. I know, but no, really, trust us. It's going to get good. And it does.
And I will say that, which is not to say that the beginning is terrible, because there are.
No, it's well, like Ken said, it's well shot and mostly well executed. It's just the ideas don't quite.
Yeah, I will often watch 5 minutes of a Tubi movie and I can tell. I'm like, okay, nope, moving on. This is garbage. And this one, you know, you start right off the bat with Christy running through the woods and the cinematography is good.
It does have a really good opening scene.
And then it juxtaposes pretty well with the friends who are like having a good time, and then it comes back, and then Christy does something unimaginable. And you're like, okay, wow. You know, like the wheels don't really come off until you meet the two dudes. And you're just like, holy shit, why are they so dumb? But like those opening bits. And I think one of the things that really hooked me about this movie was, to me, that very opening scene, it felt like the end of a previous movie. Felt like the final girl running away, but not quite getting away. And so I was like, that's pretty cool. I like that. This feels like a sequel to a movie that never existed. And when you get the big twists halfway through, you're like, oh, it pretty much is a sequel to a movie that never existed. So that really worked for me. But then you meet the dudes and you're just like, what? Why? Why are you guys so dumb?
Yeah.
Like,
I think unfortunately the dudes are the real weak links. And so
but the two girls are also pretty bad. Like they also have some incredibly dumb lines.
they have some dumb lines. I like the girls better than I like the dudes, but yeah, I mean the four of them are not the best.
Yeah. So you kind of just have to, and it's funny because like I think if they had just been four friends, if they had just known each other,
Yeah.
you could have maybe like not needed so much of this like nonsensical decisions, and the plot would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe you needed, shoot, I forgot what the friend's name is, the really dumb one. Jane?
Pete?
James is technically the main character. Is Pete the other one?
Pete, yeah, the beard,
Yeah.
the bearded one. Yeah.
Maybe you needed Pete to have never met Christy because like you have that crazy scene in the woods.
Yeah.
But like overall, like they all could have known each other and things would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
And you would have had pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I feel like it's gonna be kind of hard to talk about the positives without going into spoiler territory because like that's
Yeah.
when it gets good. But suffice to say, she does in fact arrive.
She does in fact come.
And when she arrives, it goes full Evil Dead insanity.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's like I feel like maybe that's like the problem with this movie. It was trying to both be Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 at the same time.
Right.
And it's like, no, those are two different movies. They're similar, but they tonally are very different. And that's kind of where this one doesn't quite click. But I will say other things I really liked about it. Cinematography was fantastic.
Yeah.
They clearly knew what they were doing in terms of lights, like the nighttime stuff looked good.
Yeah. The nighttime stuff I liked especially because it reminded me of like old school night photography where you can actually see things.
Yeah.
Because they use actual lights as opposed to just really dim digital lighting, you know.
Right. And you're like, sure, the moon's not normally that blue, but
right.
Like, I don't mind. My brain knows it's night. And like they use some smoke machines, but they work. They weren't cheesy. I mean, mad shout out to the special effects, the practical gore. I mean, bucket blood.
Yeah.
Shoot, I had that credit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it up again.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. If you're a real gore head, you really need to stick around to the second half.
So yeah, David Christopher Pitt gets the props for the special effects. So I assume that's who deserves the credit for that. I didn't see like an actual like, company credited. So, but the other thing I really liked, even though I have a lot of criticism about the performances, I really appreciated the aesthetics of the actors, especially because so many of them get naked and none of them looked like your typical LA model. They all absolutely look like people you would find out in Ohio or wherever we are.
Yeah.
That like, you're just like, these are natural, normal people. Like, and that's rare. That's really rare. I mean, my favorite is when you're watching like a barbarian movie and like, the barbarian queen has the biggest fake knockers you've ever seen. You're just like, what magic spell?
Well, that's why she's the queen.
Like what magic spell did that? But even in these movies where they're like, we're in the middle of Appalachia and this lady clearly was on a runway last week.
Right.
So props to the casting in a lot of ways. Just also demerit to the casting.
Yeah.
Although we're not exactly sure who to blame for that. So yeah. Any other thoughts before like I said, I think we have to jump into spoilers pretty fast here. So any other thoughts before we jump into spoilers?
I just think that like and maybe Ken, you can weigh in this because you spoke more about it. Like there's a couple like overriding kind of problems with the first act that I think could have been pretty easily solved. Like the first big one is that, like I said, there's no narrative drive to the opening, and just like making him a mailman just delivering mail, like that's the least interesting possible thing you could have. And then he gets there and he looks around and he takes a nap, and it's like, again, not the most
and there was no exciting decision. Really, there was no point to him being a mailman that
it never paid off. But anyway,
it was
just an excuse to get him to the house. There's a million reasons you could have for him to have to go to the house.
If they had just been friends, as Dedo said, if they'd just been friends already,
or
that would have solved it.
Or you don't make him a mailman, you make him a courier.
Yeah.
And this is his like big break. He really needs the job.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't get a signature for this letter,
exactly,
it doesn't explain the napping, but at least explains why he's like dating these people's privacy.
Right, exactly. There has to be some sort of stakes or some sort of narrative stakes for him. What happens if he fails, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
If he's just like because at first he's just like, well, I can't even find this place, and he's just like, well, no big deal, I just won't deliver it. And he's like, oh no, here it is, and then he goes to deliver it. And it's just like,
well, he just read the address wrong.
Right, exactly. It's just like, all right,
right.
And then the other one is what you talked about, Ken, which is tone. which is I felt like some of the jokes were kind of funny, and I kind of liked. We'll have some Walken Award nominees a little later, I guess. There are some lines that are kind of awkward, but some that I like the way the cast delivers them. Um, but there were times like the great example is when Tonight She Comes, when she comes, she's naked and covered in blood and walking towards them, and they're like cracking jokes
Yeah.
and like they're not treat like this is weird. And then she has like a demon voice, and then they're just not treating the threat seriously enough soon enough.
Yeah.
And that since we're living the story vicariously through them, we're not as thrilled by it as we should be. Now,
Right.
once the narrative turn happens, and then it really gets, then they really do have the right reaction. But prior to that, it's just like you're just sucking the wind out of the dramatic tension here. And every time I started to feel a little dramatic tension, it got, the narrative thread got cut, and I'm just like, I'm just not as excited as I should be. Which is exactly what you were talking about, Ken, with the tone of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and even that, like, I mean, that specific scene, you could tell they had. It's probably the whole genesis of the entire movie. Dude was
Right.
by a lake house, and he probably was like, "What if a demon lady came out of the lake?" And
Yeah.
that's where it all came from, right? But it's like at a minimum, you need someone to be like, "She's covered in blood," and someone else to be like, "No, that's mud,"
Right.
thing, right? Like
Yeah.
instead, you have horny James be like, "She's standing in front of us naked. There's nothing wrong
with that,
Like
right.
there is clearly something
Right.
wrong."
Right. I mean, and maybe that's a performance thing too, because if he had been goofier, like if he had played it bigger or hammier,
I
like I
think
don't think he
more-
could either. He just couldn't either. I mean, I think it wasn't well written, but he also
Yeah.
couldn't really pull it off.
I think
as
also
an
I
actor,
think they were
think.
all I think they were supposed to be way more fucked up,
Yeah.
way more intoxicated, and for whatever reason that just wasn't coming across. And
Yeah.
and
But
that
it would-
actually
yeah.
explains a lot of the weirdness. Like that would explain why you would take a nap in a stranger's hammock.
Right.
That would explain why you would like leave your buddy run off to the woods to poop and tell him just to come back for you and then get lost. Like, like it does not explain why you'd have a telescope in your pocket, but that's
It leads to a good kill though, so that's really.
I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank God. I mean, it did that right. It killed off the most annoying character, the first.
Yeah.
Props for that.
Yeah. Although that was your chance to have some early gore. Like we don't even see him really.
Yeah, he's killed off screen, right?
Yeah, but I was actually okay for that because once you see her covered in blood, you're like, oh, we're not.
That's good. Yeah,
We're
it's
not
a good
getting
reveal.
back. Pete's not coming back. Pete has been turned into a slushy.
Yeah,
I was okay with that.
yeah.
And for all the I'd say narrative decisions that were kind of misguided in the first half, all of that is corrected in the second half. Like every decision helps it. Like what I really loved about the second half is that really the second half of the movie is really one scene. It's all just one scene, which I loved. And that, as I mentioned, like the narrative tension in the first half is just kind of slack. That just keeps getting tighter and tighter because it's almost real time, basically.
Should we
this thriller's unfolding. So.
Announce our spoiler alert?
I think we should.
I had one more thought. Because so the movie starts and it says this movie should be watched loud, and then there's a beat and then as hell. and that is clearly like not just the score, but the sound design is like got all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. But there's one bit that really cracked me up, and I can't decide if I like it or not. Because so when he is in the woods, which he happens to be just on the other side of the lake house, and he sees the two girls show up and they get in their bikinis and start like not fooling around, but like goofing around, and the music hits like he's just seen a murder. And it's such an odd choice, and it kind of works until you think about it a little harder, and then you're like, wait, it doesn't work because these are not the girls that killed him. Like, and like there's a couple other beats like that where I'm like, it's working, but I think it's working just because like the sound design is good, not because it's motivated correctly. But it's just like the little stuff you notice that's kind of entertaining there. Okay, now we can go into spoiler territory. So, spoilers, you guys have heard our initial pitch. definitely watch the movie. Feel free to do dishes in the first half,
Be on your
but
phone. It's all right.
Doom scroll.
sit down and turn the volume up when the lady comes out of the lake, because that is when things start.
Which, by the way, I noted it is. Where's my note on that? 31 minutes in.
Oh, there
By
you
the
go.
way.
See?
So they
Plenty-
31 minutes, almost 31 minutes even.
Plenty of dish time.
That's when you make sure you pay attention.
Yeah. Which honestly isn't horrible. I mean, the movie in total is
Like 84 minutes, I think.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Yeah, the runtime is really good.
Oh yeah,
Like it's
84
really
minutes. Yeah,
so,
so
yeah.
30 minutes, a little over a third.
It takes
but
a little longer when you have to watch it with Tubi ads.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so all right. So now we're in spoiler territory. Don't say we didn't warn you. So Christy, the friend that's been missing, she has now maybe not risen from the dead. And she wades across the lake and comes out, and she's covered in blood, and she just starts fucking dudes up. There is a very iconic, or an homage to a very iconic sleeping bag kill, which literally every single Redditor feels the need to mention.
Yes, it's very subtle. Like there, like I looked it up too because I wanted to remind myself because it's from Friday the 13th, but I had to remind myself which sequel it's from because I've seen them all, but it's part 7, the New Blood.
But then apparently they do it 2 more times in Friday the 13th. So
do they?
It's truly a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, and it's even the same yellow colored sleeping bag.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not subtle, but yeah, you're right. Everyone feels like, oh, it's a real Easter egg. It's like Easter eggs you have to find. This is not an Easter egg when it's right in your face.
It was impactful because I didn't expect that girl to die so soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was still effective. So good for them. But
yeah.
So very quickly after scary naked lady starts killing people, suddenly you're introduced to a whole new cast of characters. This whole redneck family. That turns out they are the ones responsible for summoning this demon. And now they want our main characters, their help to resummon, better summon the...
At first it's summon better.
Summon better.
And then it seems like it's unsummon.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. That's, you know. You gotta play on the fly. But like what's also interesting there is because like they're kind of the main character energy shifts. And Felicitahhhhh becomes the main character for the most part. Another cool little detail that I think it worked. I was okay with it mainly because I was so unsatisfied with these other Jokers that I was really focused.
I felt like they don't quite pull it off.
Okay.
Just because I feel like Ashley seems to be the one who is, you know, like even in the goofier parts before, like she's the only one who's able to like from a narrative standpoint, like she's fighting off Christy. She sort of has the feeling of the final girl. And I think it would be really cool if they had managed to make it successfully, I think, switch your affections or whatever you would call it to Felicitahhhhh. But for me, it just didn't quite work. Like, she is interesting, but she never quite takes the lead role for me.
Yeah. I like the complexity of the ritual.
Yeah.
I like and man, all of a sudden, it's just blood everywhere.
Right. And the redneck family is, like, for sure a lot more interesting than the goofballs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the actor playing, what's his character's name? Francis. That's his name. Just every line reading, he's a walking award winner, that guy. He's having so much fun with the dialogue and with the accent and he's got that great gravelly deep voice. Like he's just perfect. Every
look
word
up, is he was a character actor that's been in other things?
He has a weird career. I did look him up on IMDb. He's got a lot of credits. It's a lot of stuff that you haven't heard of, a lot of, low budget stuff. But he randomly turns up in like a Miley Cyrus music video.
Also,
and it's just like
National Treasure and Blade.
Wow. Yeah, he as a stunt performer, I think.
But in both cases, uncredited. So, by the way, I was also in Indiana Jones, uncredited.
Indeed.
yeah, he looks like a character actor.
Yeah, definitely a character actor.
Yeah.
His headshot, man. Oh my God. He is doing full blue steel. Yeah, this guy.
But I would like to see him in more stuff because he's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. That's funny. I was going to say before we pulled up his bio here, I was like, I thought he was so good that he's one of those people where you're like, did you just find him at the local convenience store, or
Right.
clearly they did it? But yeah, he was fantastic. He also looked like he was going to fall over dead at any second, which
Yeah. There's good makeup on him,
yeah,
and lighting and everything.
So I will say that one of the other details I really, really liked is that James, who also you could argue is the main character, completely just fucks up the ritual.
Yes.
Because he can't swallow the blood. And then just everything goes even worse to hell from there. Like, I thought that was a really cool detail. Like, and then he also, like, he basically, like, sacrifices, what's her name, doesn't he? He shoves her.
It's a little
into the
confusing,
path
but yeah,
of
I
the
think so.
Yeah. So he goes,
because he kind of
so like a
chickens
real
out,
heel turn.
Yeah,
At the end of it.
yeah. And then Felicitahhhhh gives him his comeuppance.
Indeed, yeah, and because you mentioned the ritual, so they, in order to defeat the Tonight She Comes Christie, they have to do this elaborate ritual involving all sorts of blood and a chalice and pentagram and all that stuff. And so as we were watching it, my wife came down, who is not squeamish. Like, one of our all-time favorite movies is The Thing. So, like, she's watched more than her share of horror films, loves horror films, all sorts, doesn't like gore as much, but still, obviously, if her favorite movie's The Thing, she has no problem with gore. And she came down for a little to watch it during that part of it, the details of the ritual, and she just got up and left and said, "This is gross to an unnecessary degree." was her quote. And I'm like, I would have to agree, and that is a feature, not a bug.
I'm sure the filmmakers would be like, yes, that's what.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And mission accomplished. So.
Yeah. That was one thing that did pay off, is the whole bloody Kleenex, because Ashley's on her period at the beginning of the movie, and then, wow, did that come back?
Yes. and maybe a Walker Award nominee, I don't know, but the most unique way to describe a period, when James asked Lindsay, who's Ashley's friend, early on in the movie, what's going on with her, what's up, and she says, "No, it's Shark Week." Day 4, the revenge. I'm like, that's a pretty creative description of being in a period, which is Shark Week.
Yeah. Not bad.
And then I'll say, like, they took it to another level when the movie kind of lulls at the end there. You think it's over, and they have an ambulance, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, it's not over. And they surprise you, but they also up the production value a little further with that, which I really liked. Because so many of these movies, they just peter out because they clearly just ran out of money.
Right.
This one maybe shot in reverse order. I don't know, because maybe they ran out of money at the beginning. But but I was like, okay, this feels like a real move. Like, this is legit. Like,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they wanted to make the whole movie just to do that last like birthing scene.
Yeah, the final shot is pretty. Final shots, I should say, is pretty.
Yeah.
Well, and what I liked about that was that it then explains some of the questions you had at the beginning, right? Like, because you're like, wait, last time we saw Christy, she was wearing a robe and she was stabbing herself, and now she's buck naked and unblemished, and you don't really get that answer till the end, where you're like, oh, the demon is literally birthed out of them.
Yeah.
But looks like them.
Yeah.
Looks like whoever it came out of. So you're like, okay, cool, like that. So that's why I'm not willing to write off the beginning entirely, because like some of it was really good. It inexplicably had these hiccups, like it's so odd, like
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it felt like some of it was like maybe another draft would have would have been good. Some of the ideas felt like almost like placeholder ideas, as
Yeah.
you're working on a script, and
Punch up some of the dialogue at the beginning. Maybe
Yeah.
or
would have
just
helped it.
like Matt Stewart's the director wasn't there to shoot like some of the scenes, like, at the beginning. Because that's the other probably my biggest gripe about the beginning is the weird edits where they just cut to black and they're like 11:46 a.m. and you're like, okay, I get it, we're counting down to tonight, so she,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
and there's a couple times where it happens at such a wrong moment,
Yeah.
that you're just like, what are you hiding here, dude? What did you lose? What did
Yeah, I felt like sometimes it was almost like they were trying to cover for missing footage or missing
Yeah, or
So
maybe
coverage,
they
maybe
shot a lot more that they were like, oh, we can't
Right.
use this.
cut out, or maybe they were trying to have it move a little faster and cut out stuff that didn't work or whatever. I did like that they spelled out the times instead of just having like 11:46 or whatever. It spelled out 11:46. So
you could keep it up on the screen longer because people have to read it. So
right. Oh, there you go. You get a few extra seconds there that way. Pad that runtime.
Yeah. I have one caveat about the second half, which I do think is successful, but I wish that they could have upped the tension a little bit more by making it seem like Christy was gonna get it. Like, they kind of set it up that she can't get in the house right away.
Yeah.
Because of the blood or whatever. And I think it would have been better, like, there would have been more tension if you felt like she could get through at any moment, or you keep cutting back to her and she's circling around and she's finding a way that maybe she can get in. And I just felt like they missed something there that they could have used. But I mean, that's just
a little more suspense.
More suspense.
Yeah.
It's a small thing, but
I will say I didn't really miss that just because you had the suspense of like the hillbillies got a shotgun and they're forcing them to bleed themselves and But what I did miss was really wasn't much talk about trying to save Christy.
Right.
They pretty quickly accept that like she's gone.
She's gone.
And these rednecks did something to her, but oh well. And like in hindsight, it's at the end that it's not Christy at all. But our main characters don't, and that their other actions makes them just incredibly superficial.
Well, they killed off the only one, and the only one left was Ashley, who even knows or cares about Christy. So there really wasn't anybody there to
at that point
worry about her.
Prior, all throughout the house, like all the house scenes where they're like, are we gonna do this ritual or not?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like, will this stay?
Do the rednecks know Christy? That was where I got confused. The rednecks know Christy?
The rednecks did that to Christy. That's the unwatched first movie.
Right.
Yeah. But the question is, how well did they know her before?
Yeah, she just random. They came across her house.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they like just broke into her house because they needed a virgin. Although maybe she wasn't. I don't know if she's actually a virgin or what that angle is, because it's like none of these people seem like virgins. But then it's the joke where they say one of the girls is a virgin, but then she laughs and says, "No, I'm not." So that was another little plot hole, but you just don't care because there's so much blood on the ground.
Right.
But yeah, I just feel like if these characters had been a little more likable and had been a little more concerned for their friend, or just even indignant and righteously angry to their friend, and argue that they're worried about their own lives, they don't have time for that, but it would help the narrative drive.
That's true. They do launch into attacking her with a paddle pretty quick.
They so aggro real.
Yeah, and Ashley does kind of adopt the attitude, like, what the hell's wrong with you people? Like, what the hell is this? Like, she gets a lot more sincere and a lot more, again, feeling the threat a lot more through her.
Yeah.
I think. And they all get into the house. I'm here with more helpful time code suggestions. So they all get into the house at 42 minutes and 38 seconds. So that's kind of where the second half begins.
Yeah.
Which again, with the running time being 84 minutes, you subtract 2 minutes or 2 or 3 minutes for credits. That's almost exactly the midpoint, which structurally is pretty good, So that I think was well done.
Yeah.
To kind of supercharge it that way.
Yeah. And I mean, also just as we said, the second half, it's blood everywhere, but mad props for the shotgun to the head scene. Like
Yeah.
other classic staple that a lot of movies don't do well, and
Yeah.
this one does it well, and like so.
Yeah, and the great thing is there's two stages to it. So Philip, who's the brother of Felicitahhhhh, turns on his dad and shoots him in the head. And then there's a shot of Francis with like a hole, like essentially in his eye, almost like a Terminator 2 type thing, where there's like a hole in it. He's still sort of alive and kind of, I can't remember if he says a line of dialogue, but he just thinks stares back. So that's one stage of makeup, and then he just completely blows his head off, and you see it explode. So like those two stages, which not only having really good gore effects, but to do two different stages of it.
Yeah.
One of which obviously took a lot of time to get right, and showed a lot of patience on the actor's part. So that was really impressive.
And I noticed
get that level of detail.
I noticed zero digital manipulate. Like, I mean, I'm not saying,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm not saying they didn't, but like,
Right.
It wasn't obvious.
It was
Right.
It was really well. I mean, and again, just to circle back, as much as we're criticizing parts of this movie, if you are a horror fan, if you like blood and gore and just insanity, this movie delivers. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Delivers in buckets.
Yeah, it does. It does indeed.
Yeah.
And then there is like, again, that second half, which is so great, again, which is basically one scene. And part of the tension of movies like this that I always find interesting is especially when it's low budget and you don't know the filmmaker, it's always just as you see where things are going and you see, oh, things are going to get crazy, the question is always, all right, how far are you going to go? Right? What are you going to show me? And there is a little tension where you're like, I don't know if I want to go that far.
Yeah.
But it goes pretty far, but I would say not so far that it's unsatisfying or too upsetting. I mean, it's definitely, a significant amount of gore and blood and everything, but It's not like torture porn type thing, which is what I was afraid is where it was going to go.
Yeah, and I will say that like a lot of these movies that are just like, we're doing this for the gore, a lot of times they kill the pacing.
Yeah, right.
Like the killer is like, he goes up and he grabs their head and he smashes the head and it's slow-mo, and then we got to see the stringy shit, and you're like, oh no, but people are running away. This one, like, you get that gore, but the pacing does not suffer in the second half.
Yeah.
So
not at all.
I'm actually blanking here. How does Philip die?
He bleeds out, right? Doesn't he? Like, he cuts himself and accidentally passes out. And then I don't think, is that how he dies? I don't think that's how he dies, because I think he then comes back.
Yeah, because then Christy finds him, right?
Does Christy come on?
I think Christy kills him.
See if I can find that part.
Blanking that. Rock Russell, I'm doing you dirty, buddy. Well,
also bad haircut on James. I kept calling him bad haircut guy.
honestly, that's authentic, right? Like, you're
right. I mean,
you're out there in the wild. People have some real bad haircuts.
I was. Yeah. I mean, it was another little authenticity about the
well, and it's
about the
funny.
actors.
It's funny too, because like, prior to buying some property in West Virginia, I would have called bullshit on him not having his own mail truck, but that's a real thing.
I was going to ask about that. Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing. We see that all the time. We see mail trucks. I don't see actual mail trucks at all. So, so that part was right. It was just, but like, why was he so determined to deliver that letter? That just didn't work.
Something happened to his truck. Did I miss that? So that was another thing too at the beginning. Like, they go out, they try to start the girl's car, but it won't turn over. I was like, wait a minute, why can't they take the mail truck?
So when he's taking the nap, inexplicably, there's actually two different POV characters.
Okay.
Presumably, I'm assuming it's Felicitahhhhh that takes his blood.
Right.
Which napping.
Which is awesome. Wake up, right? Yeah.
Well, she smothers him, but then for some reason she uses a screwdriver to take the. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that motherfucker would die if you handed the screwdriver. But whatever. Yeah. Little suspension of disbelief. But then meanwhile, presumably it's Philip, maybe it's Francis. Somebody's in the truck.
Okay.
and because they take his phone and they wing it out the door.
Right.
That's
Okay,
another.
I'm
That's
just
another
forgetting
case
that
of
part.
sound design. You listen to it loud as hell. That phone rings, and you're
You'll
like,
pick that up.
"Wow," you know, like that is actually a decent moment. And then I don't think they would show it, but the implication is whoever is in the truck is sabotaging the truck, and then but then I don't think we ever come back to that. I don't think we ever get a payoff on that. So
Right.
you know, probably a case of editing or lost scenes or
Yeah.
so yeah. So do we want to take a stab at the budget?
Well, we don't have an official number, right?
We do not have an official number.
But that doesn't preclude us from guessing.
No, because we are experts.
And we've already established I suck at this guessing.
Right.
So.
We've already
As
established
do
that
I.
we were all fantastic at guessing the budget.
Well, it's hard now because it used to be, very cut. There was like, A pictures and if you shot on a certain format, it was guaranteed there was like a bare minimum of budget, right? 35 million. Now it's like the opposite. You've got like movies that cost $50 that look like $1 million, and then you got movies that cost $1 million that looks like $20. So it's like you never know.
Yeah. So with that in mind, take a stab. It's good.
Yeah.
Good discussion.
Because we do have, it looks great. There was obviously a significant amount of professional lighting for the night scenes, and since pretty much most of it takes place at night, that's
because that's when she comes.
That's when she comes at the night. And also the camera that they shot on. Dedo, did you find the camera that they shot on, or did you?
So that's according to IMDb, which we all know is like as
salt
as ChatGPT. But according to IMDb, they shot on a red, which I believe it certainly looks.
Yeah, it looks reddish.
In the right time, but like so, they filmed it in 2016, give or take. So using a red back then, that's not cheap.
Yeah.
So that'll bump up the budget as well. And
gore effects are really good.
I mean, it's got to be $25,000 worth of blood.
Right, easily. Several 40-gallon drums of those things.
Yeah, I mean 50,000 if we're using cow blood. So yeah, so somebody take a guess here.
I'd say around maybe 150 to 200K.
Oh,
maybe.
All right.
I'd call 200K. I'd say.
Okay.
200. All right. I was gonna say 150.
Okay.
But maybe 125. Maybe I don't know if it's as high as 200.
I'm going way higher after the endless debacle.
Right.
Right.
So wrong.
So wrong.
Because honestly, I'd say production value is pretty comparable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And admittedly, I think the endless was probably shot with a little more LA consideration.
Right.
But I'm gonna say 750.
Okay.
Because there was clearly a crew. They clearly had people. They clearly, it's a decent sized cast. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people credited, which is probably everybody.
Yeah.
I do know, thanks to a little IMDb trivia, the woman playing Christy was a amateur. She was actually a model, and that's Stewart's.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So 750 maybe is a little high, but they like, and you never know. It's like, did somebody own that lake house where they shot, or was that rented? Because that's like, that could be a big budget,
Right, exactly.
So I would not go lower than 500 grand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it looks and sounds so good.
Yeah.
And I know they had a professional sound design, professional production house that's credited.
Right.
They have a separate score. So what do you think?
Well, 2 questions actually. Do you have any idea how well it did?
No.
And
No.
has
It's
Matt...
on Tubi. That's about as well.
Right. And has Matt Stewart's done much else?
I don't think so. I did remember checking at one point, and yeah, he's only got 2 other credits on IMDb. One is just called RWD, which I think is short for Rewind, because it's got the little emblem there, and the other one even have poster art, but it's called Wake Not the Dead, which I love as a title.
It's a good title.
He's got a bunch more. He's got a bunch more shorts, and he's collaborated with the Polish composer on something. So it sounds
Yeah.
maybe a
Yeah,
music.
there's enough craft in that second half of that movie too. I'd love to see something else that he made.
Yeah, totally.
And also, I want to possibly rectify. I gave a shout out for David Christopher Pitt for special effects, but we also have quite a few people in the makeup artists.
Yeah, I did notice, like in the credit scroll, it was largely a female team doing the makeup effects.
And
So if you want to shout out their names, Zeto, if you're looking at them.
yeah, so shout out to Haley Hall, Megan Adele Jewin, Catherine Shea Spradley, and Adrienne Wilkerson. Catherine Shea is the most likely candidate for credit because she is fabrication and design of makeup effects. He's special effects makeup, the makeup department head. And then Matt Stewart himself is credited with visual effects. I'm going to assume that's probably just object removal.
The digital like energy kind of
bits
from some of the close-ups have like a purple kind of energy coming off of them.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's still likely that David Christopher Pitt gets most of the credit for the gore, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we can credit the whole team because we don't want to get into the substance kind of era where there's dispute over who gets the Oscar.
Yeah.
Because of infighting amongst the crew.
So just to lend credit to the budget argument, their camera and electrical has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 15 people credited.
Oh wow, okay.
And they even had a DIT. So
look at that.
You know.
And we know how hard that job is, Ditto, because both you and I have done that job. So
it's super hard. Oh my god, hardest job I've ever had. You should definitely hire me to do it again.
That's right.
A lot of, I'm really good at. I can D the IT.
That's right.
Like you
didn't lose any footage, which is the primary job.
That's right. Actually, true story. So the first DIT job I did professionally was on an indie feature called June Adrift. And on the very first day, they handed me the first card and I went and I popped it in and I started looking at it and the footage was all messed up. And I was like, is this on me? No, I don't think so. And I went and it turned out they had been shooting time lapses that morning. They forgot to take the camera off time lapse setting. They shot an entire scene in time lapse, but they would have gone the whole day if I hadn't caught it. So,
oh my goodness! Well, there you go. You saved the whole half day of shooting.
You really made your money. I mean, earned your money.
I was the big DIT that day.
Capital DIT.
Big swinging DIT. Look, shout out to June Adrift. So maybe we'll cover that someday. But
yeah, we should. We should maybe bring Amanda on or something.
Yeah, good, pleasant.
It's a good film. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that covers budget. Now it's time to talk favorite lines.
Everybody's favorite segment, the Walken Awards.
That's right.
Do you want to explain why we call it the Walken Awards, Zeto?
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory.
True.
But basically, we'd like to shout out quality lines, and then in particular ones that would be improved if read by Christopher Walken.
So we're looking for either good lines themselves or more likely maybe an ordinary line that an actor puts a really good spin on. You know, I think is kind of what we're looking for.
Yep. So Ken, do you have any?
Well, I think before we go into individual ones, I think we can all agree, which we've mentioned multiple times, the one that's probably the clear winner.
This is what I was probably say.
Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Felicitahhhhh.
Yeah, So the actor who plays Francis, which I think his name is Francis, isn't it? Isn't it Francis Ray? I think is his name.
Yeah,
I think. You want to look that up real quick, Ditto?
Frankie
Ray. Sorry. Yeah, so he plays Francis. His name is Frankie. The way he says his daughter's name Felicity, he doesn't say Felicity. He says Felicitahhhhh, sort of like a Nell kind of thing, a Jodie Foster as Nell kind of thing, but. Clearly the director and the actor were clearly very enamored of it because he says it like a dozen times. He says her name way more than you need to, and I was basically there for every one of them. I could have heard it another dozen times. It made me laugh every single time he said Felicitahhhhh, which is, I think, the very, again, like the movie is the very definition of our no really trust us kind of game here. That I think is an ultimate textbook Walken Award winner, where you take just the name Felicity and you really put a spin on it to make it memorable and funny.
But it's also noteworthy that it didn't get old, because
Yes.
so many times you have filmmakers fall victim to something that seems just hilarious on set, and then turns out actually isn't funny at all to the viewer because they don't know the guy, they weren't there,
Right.
or sleep deprived, whatever's added up to you. But in that case, it's like, no, these instincts were right. Let that guy cook.
That's right. Right, exactly. But Ken, you got anything else for us? Any other Walken Award nominees?
The only other one I kind of got a kick out of was who's the guy in the woods? Is that Philip? The guy in the woods, when he calls, when he finds...
That's Pete, we thought? That's Pete.
It's Pete. Yes, it's Pete.
Oh,
So
I thought you meant the guy like stalking them, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's Pete. So when he finds Christie's body and he calls and he leaves the message and he ends it by saying, "Hope you enjoyed the show."
Which
So I kind of enjoyed that, and that could be a good...
But also, like,
Yeah.
that was a case, like overall, I thought they did a good job with the geography of that landscape. But it's like, he's on one side of the lake pond. He has to pull out a cartoonish telescope to look at the girls, but somehow they're able to see him and his penis.
Right.
Like, are they cyborgs? Like,
Yeah. So,
that didn't,
yeah.
and that was just another case of like, just don't have him pull out the telescope. You
Right.
need that. Like,
Right.
just,
Yeah.
Well, we really need the telescope for later, though, Dan.
Yeah.
So that's right. Yeah.
I guess, but well, I will say, so 2 lines, neither of which I actually think really helped the movie, but could be Walken-fied. Utterly unmotivated shout that Pete makes at the beginning when he gets out of the car and James thinks they're lost, and Pete just goes, "Penis!" Then he like kind of like fillets the windshield wiper. So I'm like, is this guy gay? But then he turns out to not. Well, he turns out to probably not be gay. But like then he dies, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But the other one that I really think should be a Walken line is, she's standing in front of us, completely naked. There's nothing wrong with that. Which again was a completely not good line at the time, because it's like, you gonna die, dude. But if Walken said it, it would have been
It
Absolutely.
definitely needed a Walken spin. That's
Yeah,
for
it was
sure.
not well delivered, but Walken would have killed it.
That's
well,
right.
it's not that it wasn't well delivered, it's that the line makes no sense.
The line makes no sense, but also, I mean, it doesn't work in any way.
Yeah,
It doesn't work in any way.
like how horny do you have to be
Right.
excited that a blood-covered, like hairy level, blood-covered woman is standing in front of you? I don't care how naked she is.
Yeah.
Like that's not good. Like, so yeah, those are my votes. So any last thoughts
Yeah,
about?
I've got a few nominees,
Oh.
though. I
I thought we already did you. Okay.
No, I haven't done me yet. It's another Francis one. It's, again, an ordinary line, but the way he says it, which is, the line is, "You stupid, ignorant fool." So he's talking to James and saying, "You screwed things up, you stupid, ignorant fool." But he puts 2 syllables on the word fool. He goes, "You stupid, ignorant fool." Just the way he says that is, so it made me laugh, because he put 2 syllables on fool, which is very great.
Hey, there's 2 O's, so it must be
That's
2.
right. That's true. There's a line from Felicity, which I liked. I really liked both the line and the way she kind of tossed it off was amusing. I could tell, like, the actress who played Felicity, and I looked her up. She does more comedy than horror, and I could really tell the way she gave her performance and the way she was able to really put some spins on some lines, like definitely like some improv training or some comedy training. There's a line, she says, "Grab that chalice and freshen up this pentagram." The way she's like, "Freshen up this pentagram," and just like tossed it off. It was very funny. And then another Felicity one, which I am a sucker for really great dramatic title line readings, like when the title appears in dialogue, and it's not just like mentioned, but it's like really sink their teeth into. So she says, part of the ritual, she goes, "For tonight she comes, and tonight she shall return." And just the way she like dramatically said that, I'm like, all right, the "tonight she comes," getting that into the dialogue in that way, I'm just a sucker for that. So
Yeah.
those are all my nominees.
Nice.
Bravo. So yeah, I think it's clear that like once we get to that 42-minute mark,
42 minutes, 38 seconds.
this movie gets well. I would argue the movie gets fun once Christy comes out of the lake.
Yeah, which is 31 minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
So because then the insanity begins, but then it
Right.
really gets cranked up to 11 once inside the house. So yeah, I would say y'all should definitely trust us. Ken, would you trust me on this movie?
I did trust you.
Well, yes. Okay.
And you came through. You came through. Yeah. Yes, people should trust us.
Yes.
I think I'm the ultimate endorsement for this movie because I wavered in my trust, as many people may when they watch this. But I kept my faith in Detto and the No Really Trust Us crew, and was very well rewarded. So I'm with Ken on that one.
I was actually kind of hoping you would actually say no. Just so, because I had a whole you not believing in female orgasms line lined up, but now I can't.
Now you can't use it.
Right.
We can do another take where I just, you can use it all. Just
yeah, that'll be on our Patreon.
That's right.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
No, that'll be on our OnlyFans, I think.
Our bonus.
Oh, are we doing OnlyFans now? All right.
We're going to talk that much about the female orgasm. Yeah.
Clearly, 3 white guys on a podcast, experts on the female orgasm.
Clearly.
Who doesn't know more?
3 white bearded cinema nerds on a podcast.
Yes. I mean, that's why we're all locked in a room right now, because otherwise just be causing orgasm. You got to give the ladies a break.
It's quality content that people tune in for.
That's right. Exactly right.
All right. Well, that concludes, probably a few minutes too late, another episode of No Really Trust Us. Tune in next week /month/year
whenever we drop
whenever we decide to give you another one.
2026
for another gem brought to you by Mr. Cornwell, most likely, assuming we release these in order, because we totally know what we're doing. So or is it McNevin's turn?
I think it's the professor.
I think it's my turn. Yeah.
Oh, god damn it. All right, take 2. No, never mind, we'll just leave it at that.
There'll be another one, and one of us will be is anyone other than Detto will do it. So
that's right. All right, until next time, thanks for listening. Hope to hear from you guys soon. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening. If you've got a movie that you love and you think more people should know about, drop us a line at noreallytrustus@gmail.com or on Instagram @noreallytrustus. Don't forget to rate and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.